All right, let's dive into a real financial mystery today. SKF India and the very strange case of its absolutely crushed stock. But first, let's kick things off with a big, kind of provocative question. What if the market, with all its so-called wisdom and expert analysis, is just completely, totally wrong about a company? So, picture this. It's 2025. You've got this well-known, respected market leader. They make a big strategic move to split their business into two focused companies. You'd think that'd be good news, right? Nope. The market just crushes the stock, absolutely punishes it.
I mean, how bad was it? We're talking a 52% drop, a nosedive. That's the kind of number that makes your stomach drop, and it's the core of the puzzle we're going to try and solve today.
Now, to really get why this drop is so baffling, you've got to understand who we're talking about. This wasn't some fly-by-night tech stock. This was SKF India, a real blue-chip company. I mean, just look at their history. The parent company, SKF, literally invented a key piece of modern machinery way back in 1907. The Indian arm has been around since '61, and leading up to this whole situation, they were on a tear, growing revenue at almost 17% a year. This was a solid, reliable company. And then, boom, October 1st, 2025, everything changes.
So what was the big event? What happened on that day? Well, it all boiled down to one single corporate action, a demerger.
Okay, so for anyone who's not living and breathing corporate finance, what's a demerger? Super simple. It's just when a big company decides to spin off one of its parts into a brand new separate company. The idea usually is to let both parts shine on their own and, unlock more value.
So this is what that looked like for SKF. Before, think of them as a well-balanced machine. They had the industrial business, super stable, great profit margins, and then they had the automotive business, a bit more cyclical but huge volume. After the split, SKF India became a pure-play automotive company. The industrial side was now its own separate thing.
For shareholders, it was pretty straightforward. The company splits in two, the auto part stays with the original SKF India, and for every share you owned before, you get one share in the new industrial company. Seems simple enough, right? So, why on earth did the market hate it so much?
Okay, so let's get into the mind of the market. What was freaking everyone out? This wasn't just random panic. The fear was actually rooted in three pretty specific worries. First off, without that industrial division, SKF is now 100% tied to the auto industry, which, as you know, has these wild boom and bust cycles. Secondly, you've got the huge elephant in the room, the switch to electric vehicles. The common wisdom is that EVs use way fewer bearings, so that looks like a direct threat to their future sales. And finally, they lost their safety net. That steady, reliable industrial business that could always soften the blow during an auto downturn, gone.
So that's the scary story, right? That's the bear case, and it makes sense on the surface. But, and this is a big but, the analysis we're digging into argues that this view is completely missing the forest for the trees. That if you look a little closer, the new SKF actually has some amazing hidden strengths.
And this all starts with something called the EV paradox. It's a fantastic concept. Yeah, okay, a traditional gas-powered car uses more bearings. That's the volume part of the equation. But an EV, it might only use 10 or 15 bearings. But, and this is the key, those bearings are way more complex, way more high-tech, and a whole lot more valuable. It's a classic case of value over volume.
And why are they so valuable? Because these aren't your grandpa's bearings. We're talking about components that have to handle insane speeds, over 20,000 RPM. They have to be non-conductive, so they don't get zapped by all the electricity flowing through the car. And in an EV, which is whisper quiet, these bearings have to be perfectly, absolutely silent. All that specialized tech means they bring in 2 to 3 times the profit margin of a regular old bearing.
All right, let's switch gears and talk about risk for a second. In any cyclical industry, especially auto parts, there's one thing that can kill you when times get tough, and that's debt.
It's the anchor that pulls companies under during a recession. So what kind of debt load is the new SKF India carrying? How leveraged are they? Zero. Zilch. Nada. A totally clean, debt-free balance sheet. That's like a financial fortress. It gives them the power to survive anything.
But wait, there's another twist. Another surprise that flies right in the face of what the market was afraid of. Remember the fear that SKF had just gotten rid of its most profitable business? Well,
turns out in their very first quarter as a standalone auto company, their operating profit margin didn't shrink, it grew.
It expanded by 464 basis points. That's more than a 4.5 percentage point jump. That's massive, and it suggests that being a focused auto company is actually making them more profitable.
Okay, so we've heard the market's fears and the company's hidden strengths. Now it's time to bring it all home and deliver the final verdict on its value.
And really, it all comes down to this one critical question. If this more optimistic view is right, then just how cheap is SKF India right now?
Well, this chart basically screams the answer. Look at this. SKF India is trading at a price-to-earnings ratio of about 17. Now look at its direct competitors, Schaeffler and Timken. They're both up there trading at over 50 times earnings. That isn't just a small difference, that's a massive, gaping valuation gap.
And just so you know, it's not a fluke with one metric. Look at the whole table. It doesn't matter how you slice it. Price to book, EV to EBITDA, which are just other ways of measuring value, the story is the same. SKF India is trading at a huge discount to its peers across the board.
The analysis we're looking at sums it up just perfectly. It says, and I quote, "The market seems to be pricing SKF India as a distressed asset rather than a market leader with 14% margins and zero debt. This dislocation represents the primary opportunity."
So, let's leave you with this final thought. What we have here is a case where a top-tier market leader seems to be completely mispriced because of fear. And it really makes you wonder, in a market that's so often driven by emotion and panic, could the biggest risk of all be not seeing the incredible opportunity that's staring you right in the face?